Jessica Rouse with you this morning for Hunter Valley Today. Now, the price of milk has really barely changed in 10 years. The Hunter Valley once boasted more than 1,000 dairy farmers. 8 years ago, the number apparently shrunk to 150 farmers, and now it's even less. Dairy Connect is an advocacy group for our dairy farmers, and I'm joined by Shaughn Morgan, the CEO of Dairy Connect, on the line. Shaughn, firstly, can you tell me what Dairy Connect is?
Good morning, Jess. Indeed, Dairy Connect is an industry body that looks after dairy farmers. We are an advocacy lobbying group. We go to Parliament, we talk to politicians, we have engagement with other stakeholders and interest groups who have a common goal of ensuring the dairy industry continues to grow where we can. And we're here to make sure that we can do the best for the dairy farmers as we possibly can. We have a farmers group that our president is Graham Forbes, a dairy farmer from Gloucester, who has about 800 cows, and it has a broad spectrum of dairy farmers from throughout the state.
Fantastic. Now, in what may be a broad question, if we look at the Hunter Valley and the Upper Hunter, how big of an industry is dairy farming? I mean, has it changed much over the years?
It certainly has changed, and not for the better. As you said in your introduction, the number of dairy farms in the Upper Hunter and Hunter region has greatly reduced ever since deregulation. This has contributed to a large number of issues, but clearly it's something that is of concern to Dairy Connect. It should be of concern to state and federal government, and indeed it should be of concern to consumers.
And we are, of course, in the middle of what is quite a dire situation when it comes to drought, which is, of course, a big challenge for all our farmers. And what are the other challenges that do face dairy farmers specifically?
Well, the farm gate price is really important to ensure that they're able to make ends meet, put food on the table, get the kids to school, pay the electricity bills. And at the moment, the farm gate price is so low as to not allow them to be able to ensure long-term sustainability of their farming enterprise. And it's grossly unfair. 18 months ago, or thereabouts, Murray Goulburn did the clawback. Fonterra followed suit. Since that time, we've seen other processors who aren't able to be able to deliver a farm gate price that is fair, open and transparent. And we think that this is where the ACCC need to play a very important role with their recent inquiry.
And the price point, I mean, you go into the shop and you look at all the milk on the shelf and you've got, you're pretty much $1 a litre Woolworths brand milk, and you look at, the farm, fresh, beautiful milk that's maybe a couple of dollars more. But I mean, that difference of $2 to $3 between buying something from a home brand or something from a farm, that difference affects farmers greatly.
It does indeed. And what is really of other concern is that the retailers need to ensure the price they pay to the processor flows back to the dairy farmer. And buying branded milk, which I would always encourage people to do, because it at least puts money back into the value chain. Nevertheless, we've got to make sure that the farmer themselves get a fair, open and transparent farm gate price. Currently, the agreements that are in place between processors and dairy farmers, in my view, are unfair. They certainly are being reviewed by the ACCC. It's part of their inquiry into the Australian dairy industry. There are clauses in there that should not be in any contract. Exclusivity of supply, inability to supply their milk to a third party. Just simple things that should be more transparent. And that's what we're certainly being encouraging. And that's why we think the ACCC's recommendation of a mandatory code that will provide a way forward that's fair and reasonable and removes unconscionable conduct and unfair bargaining power should be implemented as a matter of urgency. And certainly when Graham Forbes and I appeared before the ACCC the other day, that was certainly our message to them. We're an advocacy body. If they can at least put forward those recommendations, we'll certainly go and advocate strongly for those things to be put forward.
Because without something like that in place, the farm gate price, all of that sort of stuff that you just mentioned, how much control does a dairy farmer have over all of that? It doesn't sound like they have an awful lot.
And that is one of the concerns that we've been raising for a number of months now. It's about the opportunities for the dairy farmers to be able to have a relationship with the processor that ensures a proper direction. At the moment, the milk that's provided, the fresh, nutritious milk, that goes from the dairy farmer through the processor to to the retailer, to the consumer, needs to be looked at in the holistic approach. And certainly we've been advocating for that with both the Senate committee report that came down last year and more recently with the ACCC and where it's looking to go into the future. We need to ensure that the dairy farmer in their relationship with their processor, whoever that processor may be, provides a way forward that ensures the industry can grow. And if we don't do that, then, as you said at the beginning, the number of dairy farms, not only in the Hunter but throughout New South Wales, will continue to decrease. It will consolidate into a smaller group of hands. And that's not good for anybody. It's not good for competition. And it doesn't allow the farmer who generally starts at sun up and goes to bed well after sundown, who have been on the land for generations, needs to be a more focused, a more positive outcome. We at Dairy Connect are pushing for that. I know that we will continue to do that. And I'm pleased that we're able to put that message out through people like yourself about the importance, the great importance that the local consumer can contribute back through the value chain to the dairy farmer himself.
Exactly. There's no question that the milk and dairy industry is vital to us here in Australia. Now, if you'd like more information on Dairy Connect and what they do, just head to dairyconnect.org.au. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Jess. It's a real pleasure, and thank you for taking the interest in this very important issue for not just the Hunter, but across New South Wales itself.